Ще оставя вратата отворена. Вратата ще остане отворена. Уважаема доцент Атанасова, уважаеми академик Белоев, уважаеми гости, уважаеми колеги, за мен е чест и удоволствие да дам старт на 64-та научна конференция на Русенски университет Ангел Кънчев и Съюза на учените. Docent Atanasov, dear academic Beloev, dear colleagues and guests, for me it's a pleasure and honor to give a start to the 64th Scientific Conference of the University of Ruse and the Union of the Scientists in Ruse. And I will continue my speech after that in Bulgarian for giving a welcome speech from the rectors of the university, and after that I will continue the conference in English language because we have 4 invited keynote speakers for these sessions today. So I will continue now in Bulgarian. Давам думата за приветствие на ректора на Русенския университет, доцент Десислава Атанасова. Заповядайте.
Уважаеми колеги, скъпи участници и гости на 64-та научна конференция на Русенския университет Ангел Кънчев и на Съюз на учените Русе, за мен е чест и удоволствие да ви приветствам с добре дошли в Русенския университет, за всички наши гости и партньори, както от други български университети, така и от чужбина. Русенския университет винаги е бил място, където се срещат иновациите и традициите и е бил новатор в много направления. Много хубаво е, че днес продължаваме една традиция в последните години. Нашите гости да бъдат както изявени учени от страната, така и изявени учени от чужбина, а и сред тях има и българи, работещи в чужбина. Нещо, което също се очерта като традиция в последните години на нашата конференция. Особено съм горда, че и тази година можем да покажем както интересни теми и в областта на инженерните, и в областта на неинженерните науки, така както и нашия университет събира в едно инженерните и неинженерните науки. Искам да благодаря на нашите партньори от Съюза на учените Русе в лицето на неговия председател академик Белоев, които неизменно ни подкрепят всички нас, за да продължаваме да работим и да защитаваме своите научни публикации в световно ниво. Бих искала да изразя и специални благодарности към пленарните ни лектори, професор Сотир Сотиров, който в момента пътува и след малко ще се присъедини към нас, новоизбраният ректор на Бургаския държавен университет, доцент Милена Добрева от университета на Стратклайд, професор Кирил Стойчев, изследовател и експерт в областта на сигурността, и доктор Равиндер Кумар, директор изследвания в университета в Карнавати. След малко, предполагам, професор Братанов ще представя по-основно нашите пленарни докладчици заедно с техните теми. В заключение искам да подчертая, че Международната ни научна конференция не е просто място, където да се съберат доклади и дискусии, а това е място и за сътрудничество, и за генериране на нови съвместни партньорства, нови идеи и бъдещи проекти. Желая на всички вас много вдъхновение, нови успехи и нека тези дни да бъдат изпълнени с ентусиазъм, с креативност и заедно да допринесем за науката на развитието и на обществото. Откривам 64-та годишна международна научна конференция на Русенския университет Ангел Кънчев и Съюз на учените Русе и пожелавам успех на всички вас. На добър час!
Благодаря на доцента Танасова. Давам думата за приветствие на академик Белоев от името на Съюза на учените в Русия.
Уважаеми колеги и гости на 64-та научна конференция на Русенския университет, удоволствие да ви приветствам от името на Съюза на учените с поредната конференция. Трябва само да отбележим, че отново над 300 доклада в многото секции, които ние правиме, една устойчивост на научната конференция на университета, като трябва да отчетем и многото други, още няколко конференции, които са индексирани в световните бази данни и те събират много голям брой доклади. А многото доклади, които нашите колеги публикуваме в Web of Science Scopus от проектите, които правим. Русенски изследователски университет, най-новия проект, който започва Blue Crystal. Тук са и много от нашите партньори, с които работим по тези проекти. И имайки предвид многото конференции, които се правят и проекти, по които се работи, индикаторите са именно публикации в световните бази данни, конференцията на университета продължава едно устойчиво развитие да има и да поддържа толкова голям брой доклади, като тук се срещат много колеги от наши партньорски университети и научни институти. И именно това е мястото, и тук е мястото за нови партньорства, за нови области на научните изследвания и да начертаеме нашите бъдещи проекти. Така че пожелавам на добър час и успех на конференцията.
Благодаря на академик Белоев и надявам се, сега ще ми позволите да продължа на английски език. As you know, our conference is broadcasted online, and that's why, because we have also viewers that are outside of this audience, and many of them are from abroad. That's why we prefer to continue our presentations and our talk in English language. So I also, before starting the official part, I also want to remind you that we have a social event that is dedicated for 7:30 p.m. This evening at the Theodora Palace restaurant. So everyone is welcome to this social event. And now about our keynote speakers. As Director of the University of Ruse already mentioned, Professor Sotir Sotirov, who is Rector of the Burgas State University, is on his way to the event. That's why we will postpone his presentation for the moment he's able to meet with us here. And we would like to start the keynotes with a presentation from Professor Kirill Stoichev, who is also very closely related to our university, because he's one of the scientists of the Scientific University of Ruse, and we may say that we have a very long collaboration with Professor Stoichev in the years. So his report will be based on the problems related to the business continuum. Right, so the title is Resilience, Business Continuity, Management of the Economic Entities. So please welcome Professor Stoichev.
Dear Professor Atanasova, dear Academician Beloev, dear Professor Bratanov, dear colleagues, dear guests. First of all, allow me to thank you for the opportunity to participate in this prestigious scientific forum organized by University of Ruse, Ангел Кънчев, and the Union of Scientists of Ruse. The topic of my report today is the resilience of economic entities through the prism of ensuring their continuous activity, overcoming threats and all kinds of these threats. The theory and practice related to the resilience of economic entities, especially critical ones, is a relatively new field, at least on the European continent. In confirmation of this finding, it can be pointed out that until 2022, Council Directive 2008, where the main functional categories were security and protection. With Directive 2022, the term resilience was introduced and security and protection became part of the actions to achieve resilience. But first of all, we must note that business continuity management, or in short BCM, is a subject that can also be said to be new to Bulgaria. At least until 2009, no information had entered our country. The specific issues it addresses are familiar to Bulgaria. After getting acquainted with it, the military will exclaim, well, this is nothing new. We carry out these activities every year, especially in the process of wartime planning. Civilians, on the other hand, will say that these are issues of crisis management planning. Both sides are wrong in general, despite the fact that in the individual cases they use some of that in BCM, the elements of the BCM's methodology in their activities. The huge differences is that in BCM, the emphasis is placed on ensuring the continuous operation of critical processes, organizational and technical, in crisis conditions. And in conclusion of this stage, the resilience of economic entities is a small but significant part of the sustainability of the whole world, provided by the International Seed Bank. A seed bank is Spitsbergen, Norway. Okay. This slide shows the sequence of actions to achieve the ultimate goal for an economic critical entity, ensuring its continuous operation. This is the sequence of actions included in these functional categories, which together form an integrated system for managing economic entities with an emphasis on prevention, which is fundamental to the prosperity of entities, not only in this case. How can we characterize the main functional categories? First of all, the main focus of security is on preventing threats and incidents that could compromise the functioning the critical facility. The second, the focus of resilience is on the ability of the critical object to withstand crisis and recover quickly from them. And the last but not the least, at the highest peak of activities and measures determining the functioning of critical entities is business continuity management. Business continuity planning is the basis of the BCM. The core international documents of BCM are the 22,300 family of standards. They are based on the British standard BS 25999-2. In Bulgaria, the following standards presented on the slide, seen the area under consideration, have been adapted, introduced and separated into the collection Security of Society and Citizens. The business continuity profession, that there is a profession like that. You can see on the slide that business continuity became a professional discipline with its own certification organizations and trade magazines. Basic BCM certifications, you can see on the slide the main world organizations which organize the courses for certification of specialists in the discussed area, like Disaster Recovery Institute International, Business Continuity Institute, National Institute for Business Continuity Management. What is it, Business Continuity Plan? You can see on the slide the main parts of this plan, like strategy overviews, requirements, team members, etc., etc. What is an activity? The main element of the plan. The activity is the operational unit of the plan. Each activity describes what needs to be done, how should it be done, who should do it, what it is needed to do it, and so on and so on. What is the phase? The next main element of the plan. There are basically 5 phases. You can see on the slide what is the phase means. On the slide are presented 5 phases, like initial response evaluation, temporary measures for recent events, for example, transfer of work for staff to another location, or work of key staff in homes, providing resources, restoring cooperation, return to normal. My favorite movie, a real example of what can happen to any company if it has not developed business continuity plan.
Morning, guys.
Morning.
Oh, Catherine, how was last night? So you could ask. It was an absolute disaster. I don't want to talk about it.
Got the stock pages there, Rich. There you go, mate. Cheers.
Have you checked the lottery numbers yet? The lottery? Oh no, I didn't actually. Do it. We might have won. I doubt it. Let's have a check. Right. 1, 13, 19. 3 numbers. That's fantastic. Oh my God, never won before. Oh, we can go out for lunch. Lunch. That'd be nice. Let's check the rest. 20, 34, 39, 49. We've actually won. No, we've got all the numbers. No. Give me the ticket. Give me the ticket. We need to check them. We've actually got every ticket. Got every number. 1. Yeah. 13. Yeah. 19. Yeah. 20. Yes. 34. Yes. 39. Yes. 49.
It's a jackpot! I'm not coming back. I'm writing them an email. We never have to work again. We don't want the lottery! 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 We don't want the lottery!
What's going on? This is unbelievable. Where is everybody? Hello? I'm trying to run a business here. Don't understand it. Unbelievable. Hello, Mary?
Hello, David.
What's going on? Where is everybody?
I don't know, they came in this morning. Hello? Hello, David? Are you still there? David? Hello? Hello?
So, what is the purpose of a business continuity plan? First of all, to ensure the continuity of critical business functions, and second, to enable rapid response to critical situations. And we have to say that the BCP is different from typical crisis management plans. Why? Because it ensures the delivery of the most critical services even when personnel, equipment, and resources are lost or inoperable. Some humor. The poor man didn't apply the BCP. He didn't provide a can opener at this situation. The slide shows that for the purposes of the BCM, it is necessary to create a program, the implementation of which requires 12 steps, 12 stages presented on the slide. The first step is setting the beginning of the program with its content. You can see on the slide like appoint a BCP program manager, select a BCP planning team, etc., etc. The next step is conducting the risk management with the following main activity: assess the potential, loss of machinery, equipment and buildings, loss of computer systems, loss of data, etc., etc. Very briefly, I will present you the main threats to our business. First of all, there are natural threats. You can see on the slide the main kinds of the threats: floods, tornadoes, hurricanes, etc. Threats against machinery, equipment and buildings, you can see on the slide: fire, explosions, loss of power, loss of plumbing, etc. Threats of staff, strikes, epidemics, hazardous materials, transportation problems, etc. Threats against technology, viruses, external intrusion into computer networks, data loss, hardware failure, etc. Threats to operations, financial crisis, loss of key suppliers, equipment failures, regulatory issues, etc. And the last, social threats, riots, protests, sabotage, vandalism, bomb threats, etc. So, we're moving to the next stage of the program for BCP, business impact analysis. The activities that are carried out at this stage, you can see on the slide. We need to identify lost revenue, lost market share, lost reputation, lost productivity, and non-compliance with legal requirements. And this is the projected impact on our bonuses if the call center stop working. Goals of the business impact analysis. Business impact analysis is usually a primary tool for crisis management functions and the development of BCP plan. So the next step of the program is choosing a strategy for BCM with the following activities: selected appropriate strategies for reducing risks, mitigating impacts, recovering systems and data, resumption of operations. Some joke, analyzing data and identifying opportunities, but it is so difficult for these people. Identify strategies to reduce risk and impact. You can see on the slide this, what are they doing and speaking. Incident plan, choosing a concrete strategy. So, the next step is computer network restoration or developing of computer resumption plan with the following activities presented on the slide. And what happens when we have a problem with computer network, especially in Bulgaria, its situation very known. Strategies for recovery of computer networks. There are 4 main strategies: building for places to book the company's business, mirror site, hot site, warm site, cold site. The most technically equipped and most expensive to build are mirror site and hot site, but that is why they are also the most reliable. You can see on the slide details of this site, how we can build them. Another movie, very interesting.
CA presents The Adventures of IT Guy. This episode, Dancing with Disaster.
Oh man, I love this song. Oh, this is pretty good. Yeah. What are you doing? I'm taking it old school. You ready for it, Jimmy? Go, Jimmy. Whoa! Robot, big finish, Jimmy, big finish. Okay, here we go.
Preston, this is Tollison. I need a disc copy of our product catalog for the past 5 years. Pronto.
Coming out right now.
So have it ready.
He's coming down here in 5 minutes. You gotta clean this up and stall him. Stall him!
You, no chewing gum on company time.
Okay, log in. Oh wow, look at that. CA Exosoft High Availability was able to keep the Exchange server up and running. Okay, using CA ArcServe Backup, I can restore the files that I need for Tollison. Sweet. I'm coming, Jimmy!
Out of my way.
Hey, boss, that is a beautiful tie. It's much bolder than the ones you usually wear.
Where's Preston?
Right here, sir.
Where's my disc?
Right here. Why wouldn't I have the disc? It's not like anything blew up or smells of smoke or anything like that.
Good thing for you.
Did you get it cleaned up? Yeah. Talk about disaster recovery. Thanks, CA.
Preston?
The next step of the program, creating BCP teams, like crisis management team, response teams, business continuity teams, IT teams, support teams, along with their detailed rights and obligations. That is, we do not create one team, but several for efficiency purposes. One joke, your primary responsibility is to find someone to blame. It's the first goal of crisis management team. The next step of the program, developing crisis management framework, which includes crisis response procedures, communication procedures, decision-making criteria, management continuity, and so on. Here, allow me to present the differences in some concepts. I think it's important because by refining the terminology, we can clearly define the relevant measures for the adequate response to the threat. An emergency is a short-term event requiring immediate predetermined action by a few trained professionals. But major incident or crisis is a long-term event requiring careful planning and coordinated action of numerous integrated activities by groups composed of relatively untrained specialists. Next, we need to develop business resumption plan. This plan is a link between resilience and BCM. The content of the activities that this plan includes are shown on the slide. Definition of response requirements, contact information for team members, list of activities, and so on and so on. The next step is developing a program for testing and training. The content of the activities of this step are shown on the slide. Some joked. Wrong experience, wrong test. Very interesting movie. What importance does HP attach to the continuity of its products and networks?
We strive to deliver disaster-tolerant solutions. To that end, we test our products relentlessly. Recently, our engineers fired a high-velocity bullet through an XP 12,000 storage array to test its reliability. The XP never skipped a beat. The verdict? Bulletproof. Well, we're at it again. Now our engineers want to test our business continuity and availability solutions by failing over a complete data center, showing the full range of HP servers, storage, software, and networking equipment. This test will demonstrate how HP products and services are designed to mitigate business risk, keep your business running, and reduce the business impact of a site outage. This time, though, a little bullet's not going to cut the mustard. We want to simulate a real-world disaster. In this case, a ruptured gas line in the primary data center, with one small spark leading to a major explosion. In other words, we're going to blow this data center to bits. Through this test, we will observe whether HP's disaster-tolerant business continuity and availability solutions will fail over to a remote data center to provide continuous availability. In this controlled test environment, we are simulating the actual conditions a company might face in a true disaster. As shown here, these HP screens will monitor the progress and speed of the failover from the primary data center to this backup data center.
Guys, this is the control room. Everything looks good in here. Let's do this.
HP servers, storage, and networking equipment at the primary and backup data centers are running OpenVMS, Linux, Windows, Nonstop, and HP UX operating systems, all consolidated on a StorageWorks XP disk array. And here's HP Storage Essential software showing the pre-disaster topology supported by ProCurve switches and HP B-Series director switches.
Clear the pad, guys. Repeat, clear the pad. Copy that. About 7 minutes out. We're done here, guys. Let's roll.
Tension rises as HP engineers busily add the finishing touches.
We're ready to go. High-speed ready? Okay, guys, here we go.
Here we go. In less than 20 seconds, that baby's going to blow and fail over to this backup site. Each system should fail over in less than 2 minutes. Compare that recovery time to your data center being totally out of production for weeks or months in the event of a real disaster.
5, 4, 3. There it is.
How about that? Let's go back and watch the failover. First, here is an example of the explosion interrupting availability. Here's Linux. And now Nonstop. Now let's look at the recovery. There's OpenVMS. Now nonstop. Now HPUX. Now Windows. And now Linux. They're all back up. There you have it. The primary data center was blown to bits, and HP kept everything running, kept the data intact, and maintained business continuity. Complete disaster-tolerant solutions designed and implemented by HP, with HP equipment across the board. Stress-free business continuity and availability solutions for the most demanding customer needs. Incredibly resilient, even disaster-proof. HP solutions can empower your business with resilient IT operations. We can help you mitigate risks and reduce the business impact of downtime and site outages. And we can help keep you out of hot water. Why trust anything less in your mission-critical environments?
So, fishes, 3 fishes are available finally. So the next stage, support and evaluation. We have to create continuous processes for updating the content of the plan, distributing updated versions of the plan, etc., etc. Another joke, I will put the requested plan update into our change management system immediately. In addition to maintaining and testing the plan, we must constantly master its content, including constantly training employees on its requirements. You can see on the slide these activities which are included in mastering the plan and education. What does competence mean? The basis for creating skills for working with the plan. The purpose of the competency is to know something. It's for me is very important. And the other component of the ability to work with the plan is the education, to know how to do something. And in summary, in order to ensure the continuity of the activities of economic entity, we must go through in the indicated sequence without skipping stages the following steps shown on the slide. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Kanchev. Dear colleagues, do you have any questions regarding the presentation? So in 2019, due to the COVID crisis, we were able physically to test the business continuity. I would like to invite the rector of the university to give a crystal prize to our presenter.
Винаги за вас Русе и университет са много добри. Благодаря ви много. И извинявайте, ако съм продължил във времето, много се извинявам. Благодаря ви много още веднъж.
I would like to welcome Professor Sutirov, who successfully, right? But not immediately on the,
I will wait.
on the presence. So the next presenter is Dr. Ranvinder Kumar, who is a director of research at Karnavati University, India. I would like to welcome him with his presentation. He's also a leading scientist of the Scientific University of Ruse. Welcome.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. So first of all, I would like to thanks Professor Bellov and Professor Elif to invite me for such a nice conference. So to cover a long distance, today I am here to deliver my talk on this. And the title of my talk, you can see, Design and Development of Combined Dry Steam Reforming of Methane Process using solar thermochemical reactor for hydrogen production. Okay, so it is a really a very interesting topic nowadays, because there is a different you can say concept is going on. One is the people are looking electric cars. Okay, every nation is going to promote this, but the issue related to batteries. Okay, what will be the future after 15-20 years? Nobody is going to talk about that. Okay, so as an alternate from the transportation point of view, we can see hydrogen as an alternative. Hydrogen is not only from this transportation point of view, we can use from the residential as well as from the industrial point of view, we can use. So recently we have done this study. So the contents of the presentations, introduction, literature review, methods, and then finally result and discussions and conclusion. So you can see with the increase in global warming, okay, there is a need to find the alternate as a clean resources of energy. So in that we find hydrogen is really good aspects. And from future point of view, if we can go for this, it is also available in ample quantity and you know very clean energy. So the main issues right now we can see it is a global rise in temperature due to rising level of greenhouse gases and increased demand for hydrogen for coming up with an alternative source of energy. Okay, so we have to go for hydrogen production by looking the various alternative resources. So now if I am going to talk about the sources of carbon dioxide and methane, so the graph you can see in majority this waste and wastewater 26% is contributing. Then you can see land use change and forestry is the responsible for this CO2 and methane. Then other resources like agriculture, industry, buildings, transportation and power are going to be contributing in major quantity, you can say. And major drivers of climate change you can see in figure 2. Okay, there are various gases like CO2, methane, nitrous oxide, sulfur dioxide, organic carbon. Number of gases are there. I am not going to explain it in detail. Okay, so you can see majority of these greenhouse gases are comprised of methane and carbon dioxide. So if we see any alternative to capture this and we can utilize this, then it will be beneficial from the society point of view. So you can see utilization of greenhouse gases. So methane, you can see here various utilization of methane we have shown here. Okay, so through this methane, syngas we can produce, syngas we can use, and after that we can split this syngas in the hydrogen and carbon monoxide. Okay, and there are various methods shown here, but what we have done, I am just going to show that one. So methane reforming reactions, basically you can see the basic reactions. First is steam methane reforming, okay, and then second is dry methane reforming. So first steam methane reforming, you can see the molar ratios of and in dry methane reforming you can see the molar ratio. If I am going to just combine these two reactions, then you can see the molar ratio. It is 4 at the output. You can see in the last reaction 4 CO plus 8 S2. So 1:2, which is very you can say optimum ratio we are getting. So that's why we are going for this combined dry steam methane reforming. Okay, now you can see this. How will it benefit to our society? Climate change, clean energy production, waste management, and circular economic opportunities. So whenever we are going to do any research, if we are taken into consideration two aspects. First is environmental analysis, second is economic analysis. If we are going to cover these two aspects, our research is always welcome in the world. Okay, so that two concept, whenever we are going to do in any of our research, we should adopt. Okay, so you can see this climate change. So methane reforming help in reducing greenhouse gas emissions by capturing and utilizing methanes. So it is as a valuable resource, can be utilized. Then clean energy production, you already know it is a clean energy. So waste management and circular economic, it promotes waste valorization by utilizing methane rich waste stream such as biogas and landfill gas. Okay, economic opportunity point of view, right now in future industry can utilize this as a waste management. Through this waste management we can go for this hydrogen production. So there are from business point of view opportunities are also there. Now literature view, I am not going into the detail for this particular research. I am just going to show you what I have done related to this. So although a lot of work has been already done, but the main issue with the dry methane reforming method are the carbon deposit and low syngas quality is still a big issue. Okay, so CDSMR can be an effective way of incorporating steam to prevent methane from becoming carbon. Okay, so the utilization of this process is good. Now compared to the conventional dry reforming of methane, the bi-reforming process features to higher methane conversion and hydrogen carbon monoxide ratio close to 2. That last point is very important. Okay, so now you can see various catalysts used in methane reforming. Okay, so mostly if you go through this literature for this particular study, I have collected this. So nickel based, ruthenium based. Okay, so different catalysts can be used. Now in some cases we have also found that rare earth catalyst is also used in methane reforming. So this is the summary we have collected. Okay, cerium based, zirconium based, you can see rare earth catalyst for the special cases for this hydrogen production we are using. Now if you see this graph through the literature, this is conversion of methane in percentage one side, and other side conversion of carbon dioxide, and the specific surface area meter square per gram in the horizontal line you can see. So you see this circle, it is going to cover between 33 to 220. Okay, so the specific area we are going to cover. So reactor design importance, we are going to talk about the reactor design and why we have taken into consideration because of the clean energy and from the economic point of view for the hydrogen production. So you see, whenever you are going to choose this reactor design, okay, you have to see it is solar energy utilization, high efficiency, scalability, then reduce carbon footprint, then process integration. So these factors always you have to keep in mind, and by keeping in mind all these points, solar thermochemical reactors you can see are used for the following reasons. So we are also using this. So we have designed this solar thermochemical reactor. for hydrogen production. Now, key phases in design and testing, if I am going to talk about, first of all, through the literature review, you have to collect what kind of reactor you want to design for this hydrogen production. Okay, then you summarize all this. After that, parameter identification is an important role, so you have to go for this parameter identification, and then your design start. Okay, we have collected the type of the solar thermochemical reactor, and these are the various parameters. Now we will go for the design. After that, computational study and validation. So with the help of software, like we have used ANSYS Fluent for this. Okay, computational study and validation is done. So validation we can do with the previous literature already aware, and the people or the researcher has already designed various reactors. Then optimization and comparison we do. So computational study and result analysis, after going through, we decide yes, we are going in the right direction or not. If we are facing some challenges, then we have to see the operating parameter as well as design parameters where we are lagging. After that, previously study work on computational analysis of methane reforming integrated with solar thermochemical reactors. So we have summarized this. The people has done what is the type of methane reforming, mean to say the process, and what are the various parameters and what were their findings. So I am not going in the detail because the person who are interested in this hydrogen production, they can contact after this presentation also. So you can see the types of methane reforming, tri-reforming of methane, then this dry methane reforming. Most commonly these processes are used by the various researchers. Objectives, 4 objectives for this particular study we decided. First was design and development, to investigate the effects of geometrical parameters on the thermal performance of the solar thermochemical reactors. Second is to investigate the chemical performance. Third was the experimental analysis of pure catalyst compound and its porous form stabilization composition to increase the efficiency. Fourth one was the numerical analysis of this CDSRM process in solar thermal chemical reactor. So in this study I am just going to show you only 2 because third and fourth still in process we are going to do. So method and methodology, you can see validation study conducted. So Zhang et al. And Wang et al., there were 2 researchers who has done work on this solar thermal chemical reactors. We have taken their study into consideration, and we have validated our model with their study. And then assumptions, you can have a look in this study we have taken into consideration. Then operating condition, these are the operating conditions you can see. So porous media characteristics at the right hand side, you can see density, thermal conductivity, thermal capacity, mean cell size and porosity you can see. Okay. So now the various operating conditions, what is the temperature we kept, what is the inlet temperature we kept, these are all mentions. Validations of the results, so we have from the thermal point of view and grid independence point of view, we have validated our study with this Zhang et al. And Wang et al. And the results are, you can see here, these are satisfactory. So we can say our model is quite well. And this is the temperature profile and chemical reaction model validations. So I am not going in the detail because everybody is not interested in this hydrogen productions. Only some researchers who are going to do work, they are only interested. But basics everybody can do. You can see this. This is our modified conical solar thermochemical reactor geometry. So this is the geometry. Okay, and this is going to be out in Q1 journal, I think in the month of this November it will be published. Okay, already we have got revised it. Now it is going to be published soon. So in this thermoconical solar reactor geometry, you can see at the inlet the quartz we have the length 140 mm. Then you can see we have used the porous media for that, and the outlet, you can see we will get this gas. So it is the model basically. Now performance comparison. So based on this model, this is the modified conical versus conventional cylindrical reactor. We have done this, and you can see the hydrogen yield. Okay, we are getting this methane and the other parameters from the hydrogen production point of view under control and are good. So quite satisfactory. So we are happy that we are going to validate, as well as we are going for this study in future also. So result and discussion, impact of flow velocity and radiation model. You can see here DO radiation model and P1 radiation model, two model we have compared for this, and the results you can see we have mentioned. And velocity study was done at a velocity of 0.05 meter per second, and porosity we've taken for this, it is 0.8. Okay, so the main points I am just going to discuss here. So this is the temperature profile and average temperature versus velocity. So you can see this radiation model with the DO model and P1 model, both we have mentioned here. So LTE versus LTNE. So thermal behavior in porous media, we have also shown a comparison. It is also satisfactory with our design. Then coupled effect of radiation and thermal models, I am just going to show you. You may have a look. Then heat transfer coefficient models, Wu versus Wofai. These are good researchers, and we have done the comparison of this heat transfer coefficient models also. You can see. Then it is in a continuous manner, the result we got. And effect of porous media on temperature, pressure and velocity. It was very important point when we have to check the effect of this porous media we are using on the various parameters. So you can see the graphs with and without porosity, okay, for this temperature, pressure and velocity are mentioned, and it is quite satisfactory. Now effect of porosity and radiation models on temperature distribution. So we have to see also how the variation with the temperature is going on, and the temperature profiles comes in a satisfactory manner, or there is some variations. So in this also we found that the impact of porosity and all these points we have mentioned. Now effect of porosity on temperature and heat transfer. So you can see fluid phase and solid phase temperature contours for the porous media of the MCSTCR at porosities. So various porosities models, you can see 0.7, 0.8 and 0.9 we have mentioned here. Now effect of porosity on hydrogen yield and conversion, very important. Okay, because when you are going to produce hydrogen, it is okay, hydrogen will get produced, but what would be the yield of that hydrogen? It is very important. So you can see the effect of porosity we have used. This methane and water mole fractions drop more at porosity 0.8 and 0.9. However, the hydrogen mole fractions highest at 0.9 and marginally better than 0.8, and the methane conversion 0.8, and you can see 0.8 always offers best conversion, high hydrogen and low carbon dioxide. So minimizing carbon dioxide and maximizing hydrogen by looking at this. Okay, so this thermal impact of mean cell zone on reactor performance. Okay, so you just have a look of this. Now chemical performance of reactor at different cell size, you can also see. Okay, so hydrogen mole fractions you can see, and carbon dioxide highest at 1 mm, that is lowest at 2 mm, and this 1.5 mm offers best hydrogen yield and moderate carbon dioxide. So these are also good for you can see these are the conversion efficiency of methane and water at a varied mean cell size. So now this is thermal performance for varied steam to methane ratios. So it is also important fact, because when you are going to do the study, then you can apply the parameters and you can get a lot of results. So it is up to you how you want to achieve the result. Okay. Now a chemical reaction performance at various you can say molar ratios, different molar ratios we are taking, and then we are just going to compare this. So in short, we are just going to show you all these results. So at the last conclusion of this study, thermal and chemical performance, you can see DO radiation model significantly outperforms P1 in peak and average temperature prediction. So peak and average we have mentioned here, you can see. Second is LTNA. This heat transfer model achieves more realistic thermal gradients than LTE. Wu transfer model offers higher accuracy due to porosity dependent formulation, and porosity, very important part, porosity 0.8 gives the best performance, and the hydrogen mole fraction we get 0.601. So the mean cell size, this is 1.5 mm. If I am going to talk about it, balances temperature, flow resistance and reaction surface. So you can see this inlet methane is to water ratio 0.54 yields highest hydrogen mole fraction, that is 0.67. So this MCST-SCR outperform prior models by Wang and Zhang et al. In conversion and temperature. So higher methane water breakdown, lower carbon dioxide and better solar heat utilization we got through this study. Okay, and I told you earlier it is about to publish in Q1 journal, and the next month it will be published. So these are the references we have used for this. So if any person interested in this hydrogen production can contact through mail, through phones, always welcome. Thank you.
If you have any questions, I have a question regarding this porous media. What is actually the life of? Is it restricted? Does it have any constraints from the amount of methane that will go through it? Or
no, we don't have any constraint on it. Okay, but when reactor design, you are utilizing the various material and it is in problem, and then you have to change it. Then there is necessity to change it because it will get disturbed. Otherwise, it's okay.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. And I also would like to invite academic life to provide the Crystal Prize. Добре, окей. Тук трябва да се сложи флашката. Сега ще дойде колегата. Сега ще намеря една дупка тук.
Добре. Уважаеми колеги, първо да кажа, че винаги с много голямо удоволствие идвам в Русе. Много приятели, много колеги, много съмишленици съм намирал тук през времето. Да се извиня за закъснението, но понякога се натрупват повече от един форум. Пътя не беше много цветущ. И така че имам удоволствието да ви представя съвсем накратко това, с което аз се занимавам с моя екип. Така, много дълго време се чудих как да го представя пред хора, които хем се занимават малко с информатика и изкуствен интелект, хем да го разкажа малко по-атрактивно. Така че ще се опитам, надявам се да съм успял да го направя като комбинация между едното и другото, така че наистина да ви е интересно и надявам се да породи някакви размисли в вас и да можем да правим нещо съвместно от тук нататък. Изкуственият интелект в последно време, не знам защо всички решиха, че е някаква панацея. Тогава, когато става въпрос за големи лингвистични модели, за всякакъв тип решения, уви не е така. Ние много отдавна с моя екип работим в тази област. Може би тук ще представя малко по-шарената и по-забавната част. Обикновено разработваме индустриални приложения. Както се казва в нашия бизнес, в такива случаи договора към НИС е 3 страници, договора за конфиденциалност е 18, така че ще пропусна конкретните неща. Но как изглеждат нещата тогава, когато говорим за диагностика в медицинските системи? Много често се задава въпроса, нали, какво става, кой е отговорен, как точно всичките тези неща могат да се използват. Това, което винаги се отговаря, обикновено това са някакви ключови думи, като ранна диагностика, персонализирана терапия. Винаги, като едни хора на науката, ние се питаме това колко е точно всъщност. Как можем да го направим и каква работа ще свърши на всички. Тогава, когато се говори за изкуствен интелект, аз и моята лаборатория имаме разработени така наречените хибридни модели, които се опитват, така, на моменти успяват, но на моменти не толкова, да направят, да хванат положителната част от едната технология и да я допълнят с нещо друго, което да добави още малко сигурност, още малко знание, още малко добавено време или нещо подобно към цялостното решение. Тези въпроси с предизвикателствата ще отнемат точно 45 минути, затова ще ги пропусна, като етика, сигурност на данните и нуждата от регулация. И ще говоря по-скоро за технологичната част, тогава когато става въпрос за прецизна медицина. Съвсем накратко ще разкажа технологиите, които ние използваме на практика. Най-общото нещо, как да вкараме едно знание, което е описано с данни, по някакъв начин, за да може на тази база вече да се оформи нещо като модел и да могат да се вземат решения или machine learning. Това, което се използва най-често, всъщност невронните мрежи или една система, която има структурата на човешкия мозък и има способността лека по лека, нали, на моменти много бързо, на моменти по-бавно, да се настройва, да се нагажда, т.е. да се обучава. Генетичните алгоритми, стигайки вече до голямата загадка, произвели сме 15 неща, кое от тях върши работа, да ги сравним, да се опитаме някакси с течението на времето да подберем най-добрите от тях, от това, което сме произвели и да го направим. А експертните системи, в момента в който имаме някакви правила, да се опитаме да вземем съответното решение. Естествено, това, за което почти всички говорят последно време и се използва масово, големите лингвистични модели, нещо, което също преподавам, но никак не е засегнато в научната ми дейност. Тук по-скоро е за забавление на останалите колеги. Това, върху което аз съм се фокусирал, всъщност е основно конволюционни невронни мрежи, или това са невронни мрежи, които могат да се обучават на изображения. Какви са изображенията, които ние използваме? Основно рентгенови снимки, като изключително важно тук е тогава, когато започнем да работим с тези снимки, да намерим правилен източник на информация. Тогава, когато вие получите една огромна база от данни, 30 000 рентгенови снимки за едно и също заболяване, нали, нещата вървят чудесно до момента, в който се стигне до факта, че една рентгенова снимка очевидно има някакво заболяване или очевидно няма, а на етикета съответният техник, лекар или който е написал точно обратното. Това изключително много разстройва системата, при което, нали, самото обучение пада и няма как да се получи добър резултат, всъщност нещото, което ние търсим. Мамографиите, също ясно, за какво се използват обикновено за диагностика на гърдата, нещо, което е голям съвременен бич в нашето общество. Ядрено-магнитен резонанс, компютърната томография и другите. Няколко различни неща сме разработили с моите колеги, всъщност, за да можем да навържем всъщност цялото това нещо и да отговорим на въпроса за какво всъщност го правим. Аз ще прескоча всичките тези неща, които звучат по-скоро медицински, но никак не са за пренебрегване, като идентифициране на редки болести, нетипични заболявания, т.е. нещо, което е извън рамката. Всичките тези неща много бързо се хващат. Как работи вече системата? Класическият вариант е да вземем и да тестваме няколко типове конволюционни невронни мрежи. Класическият вариант за хората, които нямат големи сървъри, големи такива изчислителни процеси, не разполагат с тях в собствените си университети, да използват ето този вариант, Inception версия 3, който е с 66 слоя, започвайки от началото и стигайки до края. За обучението Аз в началото, когато го започнахме, много се притеснявах, защото на моя лаптоп, който никак не е малък и никак не е слаб, нали, като стартираш процеса за обучение на 3000 снимки, той казва след 6 дена и 12 часа и 27 минути се върни да ти дам резултат. Нали? Което не е никак оперативно, т.е. трябва все пак да има изчислителна мощност. Свързвайки го малко по-нататък, вече с нашите университетски сървъри, нещата станаха от порядъка на 12 минути, 11 минути, 9 минути, нещо, което е съвсем приемливо, но ето така изглежда всъщност структурата на една такава конволюционна невронна мрежа и големият проблем е всъщност как една голяма снимка първо да я обработите, защото представете си 3000 снимки, те са от различни апарати, различно ниво на осветеност, някои са снимали ръката ето така, някои са снимали така, някои са снимали така, нали? Някои са я отдалечили и тя е леко замъглена, т.е. ние нямаме абсолютна еднородност на това, което вкарваме вътре в системата, а трябва на него да обучим самата система. Така че предварителната обработка е изключително голяма, още повече първия слой, който трябва да изкара характерните черти на всичките тези неща, да ги направи 299 на 299, независимо колко са големи. Нали, всеки един от нас има мобилен телефон с 100 мегабита камера. Нали, трябва да го направим 299 на 299 и тогава да го вкараме в системата. Нещо, което рядко се прави на други места, всъщност ние използваме размита логика в частта и интуиционистки размита логика, която изключително много се притеснявах тук колко формули да сложа, но представете си, че имате едно множество, което са описани няколко отделни елемента. Към това множество ние може да кажем, че тогава, когато имате, нали, в класическата размита логика имате степен на принадлежност или нормалните хора го приемат като процент, това ябълка ли е? И те ти казват да, 33% това е ябълка. Нали? Тогава, когато имате степен на непринадлежност, т.е. може да кажете, ето това е ябълка, нали? 33% или 0,33%, 15% твърдо не е ябълка. По средата винаги има една част, която се нарича неопределеност. Тогава, когато работим в истинския живот, нали, ние не винаги може да кажем днеска слънчево ли беше. И сутринта беше малко слънчево, след това тотално не беше слънчево. В момента е едно неопределено такова. Тогава, когато работим всъщност с интуиционистки размита логика, ние можем да оценим ето тази неопределеност. И тогава, когато дадете една такава система на един лекар и му кажете ето това е рак, и той ви пита, това сигурно ли е? Той казва, да, ето тук пише. Всъщност степента на неопределеност ви казва според системата това нещо, колко е сигурно, което ви го представяме, за да можете и вие като лекар, нали, да вземете решение всъщност. Тогава, когато Тогава, когато трябва да вземете едно такова решение, всъщност вие трябва да се базирате на няколко компонента. Ако приемем, че единият модул е изображението, нали? Второто са кръвните изследвания, третото са мнението на вашия лекар, четвъртото е мнението на самия пациент и като ги съберете, вие трябва най-накрая да получите общият резултат, който да се допълва и тогава, когато едното е, да речем, с точност 0,88 или 88%, да го кажа по лесния начин, другите лека по лека да добавят към него. Тоест, ако лекарят тук се изкаже коректно, тези проценти да станат 92. Ако имате кръвни изследвания, да станат 94. Тоест, идеята е да се натрупва това нещо и от тук, всъщност, изчислявайки тази неопределеност и точност, ние сглобяваме една обща картина, която да ни даде истински съответните данни. За последните години наистина направихме няколко такива изследвания. Вече публикациите с импакт фактор станаха над 15. Имате при едно дете на 5 години една рентгенова снимка, която може да каже дали това нещо е пневмония или не е пневмония. С една такава голяма система ние обучаваме изкуствения интелект, като винаги се съобразяваме с трите основни сета за обучение, за тестване и за валидация, за да сме сигурни, че изправяйки се така пред вас, хора, които знаят и могат, нали, можем да се защитим, че това нещо наистина е тествано, обучавано и е валидирано и наистина си тежи на мястото. Тоест не е нагласено по някакъв начин. Съответните процеси, които са и за обучение като качество и като validation loss, т.е. пускаме абсолютно всичките снимки, които са на входа, системата да ги разпознае и ако съвсем случайно някъде той каже това е рак, а пък на снимката пише, че не е рак, се натрупват ето тук. Ето тук. Все пак има някакви грешки. Няма безгрешни системи. Това, което още сме направили, съвсем няколко малки изображения сложих тук, откриване на увреждане на бъбрици при пациенти с диабет, защото там е изключително критично. Да, на някои от местата тук съм сложил вече къде са излезнали. Подобряване точността при вземане на биопсия. Взимате едно нещо, което коренно се различава от съответната маса в независимо какво е сега. Тук е биопсия на простатата. Нали? Нещото, което е различно. Нали? Там, където има типична картина, нали, няма смисъл да взимаме. Тоест, искаме да видим това, което е различното. Нещото, с което се опитам да ви провокирам, какво можем да направим като интелигентни транспортни системи? Ами, ето тук интелигентните автомобили вече ги има абсолютно навсякъде, като тези интелигентни автомобили, те следят образи, преценяват кое, какво, защо. Трябва всеки един детайл от пътя да може да се прецени. Всъщност, ето това е големия проблем, нали, да разпознаете съответното нещо, което е, нали, тук в този вариант. Той изглежда прекрасно, абсолютно ясно. Ясно е кой е пешеходеца, ясно е кой е колездача, къде минава автомобила, къде има конусчета, нали? Това е идеалният вариант. Почти няма такива варианти. Или нещо ще е накриво, или нещо ще е размазано, или нещо друго. Ето така, и аз преди малко така пътувах. Виждате едно нещо. Какво е то? Може ли системата при непълни данни, замъглени данни и, както се казва, нещата от истинския живот, да прецени за какво става въпрос? Колко са точни данните, които ние получаваме и класифицираме, за да кажем, ето това е точно такова. Ето го нивото на неопределеност, което директно системата може да каже, това е еди какво си, но все пак да знаеш, че тук нивото на неопределеност е така, някъде тук. Колкото и да е перфектна една система, особено с изкуствен интелект, винаги трябва да имаме едно на ум, че тя може и да сгреши по някакъв начин и ние трябва да сме наясно с това. Изключително важна тема, нещо по което отскоро работим, всъщност е как се събират данните на едно място, как се обработват, кохерентни ли са, съвместими ли са, не дай се Боже те да са свързани по някакъв начин с нашата сигурност. На нас ни трябват бързи достъпи. Значи влизаме тук вече в Edge приложенията или Edge, т.е. на върха на бръснача, да вземете решение дали ще отрежете нещо или няма да отрежете, ще завиете ли наляво или надясно. Това, което и в момента тече като много голяма дискусия навсякъде при автономните автомобили е, ако трябва да блъснете двама човека, левия или десния, кой ще изберете? Колко време имате да го вземете като решение? Изключително важна тема, която все още никой не е измислил, няма правилни решения тук, но това е едно от нещата, които се опитват или поне дават някакъв вариант за решение. Нещо, с което вие се занимавате, всъщност всичките тези примери се опитат да ги съобрази с аудиторията. Можем ли по едни визуални такива изображения да кажем съответните посеви, растения, от какво имат нужда, боледуват ли от нещо? С риск да се изложа, ще замълча какво пише по тези листа, защото нищо не разбирам, така че хората, които разбират, надявам се да могат да дадат някаква диагноза по самото изображение. Нещо, което също много често се използва в нашите среди е тогава, когато имате двузначна информация. Тоест, тази птичка клюна и е като един вид, перата и са като друг вид. Кое всъщност е важното? Кое точно е правилното решение? Може би самото изображение е направено много лошо и ние не разбираме всъщност какво сме приснимали, или пък то е застанало така, пък всичките изображения, с които ние сме обучавали системата, са го гледали от друга гледна точка това птиче. Така че ето тук винаги трябва да го има това нещо като замисъл, нали, освен това каква е птичката и нивото на несигурност на информацията. Тази несигурност на информацията не е само в това, което вие виждате, ами това, с което сте обучавали самата система. Това няма да го дискутирам вече. Много хубаво изглеждат тези червени чушки, много са ярки, т.е. тотално няма никакъв проблем тогава, когато ние трябва да оберем една такава градинка, но все пак тогава, когато имаме само един обект, той е абсолютно ясен. Тогава, когато обаче те са няколко различни, в различна степен на зрялост, на отцветеност, тогава системата пак трябва да вземе решение. Какво да прави? Ако кажете, иди да обереш червените чушки, и тя започва да се чуди. Трябва да мине да огледа абсолютно всички, да направи цветово съответните изображения и чак тогава нещата да се получат. Много се старах да влезна във времето. Благодаря ви за вниманието.
Ние на всички наши пленарни докладчици връчваме кристален пръст, така че благодарим за това, че оставя да ме уважиш за участието.
Винаги.
И с желание да продължаваме все така добре да работим.
С много голямо удоволствие. Благодаря за вниманието.
стартира колегата, каня нашият гост от Шотландия, доцент Милена Добрева, която сме изключително благодарни, че прие поканата да ни запознае с предизвикателствата, програмите, по които работим от страна на проектите, които имаме по програма Хоризонт, ни задължават нашите публикации да бъдат от типа Open Science, но повече ще ни каже доцент. Да, ако може на английски език.
Ще ни махнете ли 5 минути преди края да се...
Да се представя.
Good afternoon to everyone. I think actually what I'm going to present is a bit different. I'm not going to talk about open science. I will talk about something more fundamental and I think relevant to every researcher. And this is the question, who owns our knowledge and why it matters in the society. Thank you for the invitation. And this is the second time I'm here in Ruse. The first time I was here a couple of years ago for a conference organized again with the university, but hosted by the Regional Museum of History. So I'm explaining a little bit where I come from, what is my position. Those of you who know me from before know that I am actually working in the area of digital cultural heritage, but always affiliated with programs which are educating the librarians and information professionals of the future. And in these programs, we always look at different types of literacies and also how the knowledge is being created and also shared, which explains my interest in open science as well. This week actually is the International Open Access Week, and the topic of my paper is coordinated, as you can see, with the topic of the International Open Access Week, which is who owns our knowledge. This seems like a very simple question, but when we start unpacking it, we will see there are so many dimensions that I think, unlike all the presentations you already heard, you will probably have the feeling that I'm asking more questions than providing any answers. The International Open Access Week is organized for almost 20 years now. It started with a single-day event in the United States of America. Then it grew into a week and became an international event. And since 2011, it is celebrated as a full week of October, in the end of October each year. Here I pulled the special themes because every year the community which is interested in openness is zooming on something different. And we discuss the ownership of knowledge this year after 2 years in a row when the main topic was around the commercialization and communities, something quite interesting. You can see also some very open topics in the Open Access Week, like Open in Order to or Open in Action, but also some very specific ones, like Open for Climate Justice a couple of years ago. And if we create a word cloud of the terms which appear in these themes, obviously open and knowledge are big, but we also see that community, equity, action, structural, foundations, equitable are also very prominent. So, since this is a global event, you can see on the map where around the world there are various events. The split between the global north and the global south is absolutely easy to spot. We definitely have more events in the global north. And I'm particularly happy that with this event, Ruse is now on the map. we can see that it is marked. The conference continues for 2 days, and this is what we see on this image. So congratulations also to the university, because this is the only event from Bulgaria which is registered for this year Open International Open Access Week. So I gave this little context to give you the feeling that the efforts for openness are definitely global, and they go in many different directions. And now we come back to the question, who owns knowledge? So here I try to capture 3 of the main players, and in the bottom of the funnel we see the society. Normally when we discuss openness, the very first statement you would hear is that this is something which is really good for the society, and this is part of the mission of science, to produce something which not only benefits the society but can be very easily explored and understood by everyone. Again, this looks like a very easy thing to do, but it's not as easy as it sounds. We have here 3 bubbles, and one of the bubbles is the researchers who are creating knowledge. Why researchers actually care about ownership of knowledge? The very simple explanation is that ownership shapes credit for research, and citations are part of the story here. If somebody wants to show research priority or doing something extremely interesting, this is where we would look at. And also this is, depending on the system for academic progression, important component of the career progression if it's appreciated and measured in some way. If we look not at the individual researchers but at the research performing organizations, and universities are such organizations, this obviously is related to the visibility, the prestige, different types of metrics, and also the ability to build various sustainable infrastructures or contribute to them and participate, because we live in times when infrastructures are growing and becoming larger and larger. And artificial intelligence plays also a big role in this. I added here a bubble which might be a bit of a surprise, and these are communities. So when we discuss communities, researchers work with communities in various occasions and study them, but here the point is that we don't want these communities just to be used as subjects which are studied, but there is this understanding that they should be equal players, and this is one of the big trends, I would say, in the last years, taking great care to make sure that the various contributors to science are somehow noted and properly attributed. We also can expand this to the society, as I started with explaining this figure, because we expect that science produces something which creates impacts and has influence on everyone. What is the challenge when we actually want to understand the ownership of knowledge? This is a very complex interdisciplinary domain, I would say, and here I have a list of 6 different scientific areas and disciplines which are involved and actually are studying various aspects related to knowledge. I started with the legal and economic sciences and with intellectual property law, because if I ask the question who owns the knowledge, probably you would first relate to this area, who has the intellectual property rights over something. So here we have all sorts of issues around copyrights, patents, trade secrets and marks, rights over data sets, and so on. Another discipline which looks into this area from a legal perspective is the area of economics of innovation, because there is the very good question how openness contributes to innovation. Again, when we have things which are being open, we have the feeling that this probably should be great to boost innovation, but in reality it can have the opposite effect, because if everyone could see it, maybe those entities who would innovate would not be very interested to talk to the academics. They would just use the knowledge. So in this dimension, what is really interesting is this tension between the commons, the common goods, something which is shared, and the market and its interests to produce value. The second scientific area which explores issues around knowledge is the philosophy of knowledge, or the area of epistemology. This is, I would say, probably the oldest area which looks into knowledge, because it's interested what knowledge is, how it is created, how it is justified, who is also entitled to claim it. And this is something which was debated over the centuries very extensively. If we look at the current topics, I would say that something which becomes very prominent is the colonizing knowledge. We know that, again, the global north has a big influence on sort of suggesting methodologies, classifications, all sorts of knowledge organizations, which everyone somehow has to adopt and adapt to. But now there is a big interest in exploring what is the indigenous knowledge and the knowledge of different cultures, and how these different knowledge systems can also be included in the sort of global understanding of what knowledge is. A third area looking at knowledge is the sociology of science, and specifically the studies which look at the role of science and technology in the society. This is about how knowledge is produced and validated, and how it is circulated in social contexts. So if we want to explore what a university does about knowledge, probably we would use some methods from the area of sociology. This area currently is very interested in participatory approaches. So we want to involve and engage different stakeholders more actively, and also the tensions between proprietary, so the science done by those who are educated to do research, and various non-professionally educated to research communities, like communal research or individual research of interested citizens. From this area also comes the term knowledge economy. So we discuss terms like information society, knowledge society. The knowledge economy comes with a very specific vibe. When we have economy, we have a product. We have something which can be estimated in terms of how much it costs to produce, how much it costs for somebody who wants to use it. And this in reality creates a huge shift in the whole area of knowledge, as everyone in this room, I'm sure, is aware and have seen in their academic lives. Now I come to my area, information science and knowledge management. Here we come to the nitty-gritties of how knowledge is organized, stored, shared, retrieved. This includes dozens of different knowledge organization systems, descriptions. We have a librarian in the room, at least one, so they know what metadata is, as probably many of you also do. Now we also speak about paradata, which captures the process in which data were created. And here we also have all the digital infrastructures. What do we create to store and share our knowledge, and also to preserve it for the future? So these are various repositories for open access, and also for long-term archiving and preservation. Obviously, this means that we also have a whole range of new roles which appear around handling all these different digital infrastructures. This is another very interesting domain. From this area comes the interest to various literacies, and some of them are overlapping, but they have different flavor. We have the digital skills and digital literacies as a domain. We have the information and media literacy as a domain, which also deals with disinformation, very important also in how research is communicated, because it's very easy to create a wrong idea when research is being explained with the idea that it should be understood by everyone, but this comes sometimes with different losses in the meaning. And we can add to this area also artificial intelligence literacy. This morning, the Bulgarian national TV in its morning block was advertising a new sort of series of discussions about AI, and in Bulgarian this sounded AI. So I really liked their sense of humor, which shows this sort of worry, what happens when we have AI coming to the ground. From these disciplines, we have the contribution of fair data principles. I will speak a little bit later about them. For those of you who are not aware, we have also the anthropology and cultural studies, which are more interested about community knowledge, how communities produce and transmit traditional knowledge, and also narratives, who tells the stories, how to digitize intangible heritage which captures knowledge. And from this community we have also another set of principles which are called care principles, and something called traditional knowledge labels. And finally, we have the political science and policy studies. We have different big organizations like UNESCO and the EU, which create different regulations and acts, including AI ones. And they study areas like knowledge sovereignty, data colonialism, digital rights, and so on. So after listening to our first keynote speaker, I thought that security is not listed, but it also has a stake. So this can be extended. And now I wanted to mention some of these principles. So I already mentioned fair and care, but I will start with trust principles, which are applied to the trusted digital repositories. If you want to store scientific publications in a repository, ideally this repository should follow a set of principles which make it trusted. And here they are: transparency, responsibility, user focus, sustainability, and technology. I'm not going into any details of explaining those, but I wanted to mention these three sets of principles because sometimes people say, why do we need three sets? Why we can't create one? Actually, the answer is that I mentioned 6 different disciplines which look at knowledge in different ways. This comes from the physical creation of repositories. So these principles apply to repositories. The fair and care have different applications. Fair is about data, and this tells us that our data sets should be findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. Care comes from communities, and the point of view here is that if we are sharing something, it should be for the collective benefit. Somebody has to be entrusted with a clear authority to control. There is responsibility, and there is also ethics. So if we work in the repository domain, the trust principles are important for us, but also if we have data sets in our repository, we would look at the FAIR principles. If you look with community materials, we also have to look at the CARE principles. This doesn't mean that everyone has to do everything, but I just wanted to say that sometimes this overwhelming amount of different sets of principles has an explanation. There is a method in the madness, as they say. And also a little illustration from the traditional knowledge labels, because this is, I think, the least known. This comes from efforts to capture, again, the knowledge of different communities. And here are some of the examples. These are not the all the labels, but some of the labels which relate to the provenance. As you can see, some apply to clans, something good for Scottish people, but probably not interested here, obviously also relevant to various indigenous communities. We could have knowledge which is shared within a family. So this is very important if we explore family history or some area which has impact on family level. We can have knowledge which is relevant to multiple communities. Let's say all the tribes which are living alongside the Great Lakes in United States and Canada. So here the idea is that these labels try to capture who is really interested in specific knowledge. And there are further labels which, for example, say that something is only for women or excludes women. So that's quite interesting. And here I took one record from the Smithsonian as an example, which explains how a particular label is being used. There is the explanation that this label is being used to denote materials that has had information added by an existing collection by some Indian tribe. So that's very important in these stories. When we created records in the past, they're not complete or they don't tell the whole story. And now we revisit the records and we are adding something which makes the information more comprehensive. So what is changing in the knowledge landscape? The social contract of science changed. Previously, the idea was that scientists produce reliable knowledge. They get freedom, so they decide what to do with their time. They also are funded for doing their work. But the new social contract emphasizes transparency, participation, and making research a public good through open science. So that is connected to a big push for openness, especially by the European Commission, and the recommendation to open our research results and make them as open as possible, as closed as necessary. And here I included a quote from the European Commission. What does this mean? This means that results and data may be kept closed if making them public in open access is against the researchers' legitimate interests. Examples include commercially exploit their research results or against any obligations mentioned in the grant agreement. So this is very specifically linked to the project culture. But there is also a big security component here and a link to the area of responsible research, because we don't want to produce and to make openly available any research results which could be used, for example, to create a weapon for mass destruction or something else which is going to harm the society. Another thing we change is the interest in community contributions, and obviously another area of a big change is the use of artificial intelligence, and this is very interesting. So I want to speak now about some remaining challenges. We see that things are changing, and here I have the image of a paratrooper who is wearing a kilt, a very Scottish thing. I couldn't not include such an illustration. So we want to somehow keep some of the traditional good things, but then also have to somehow align with the new developments. And here I will speak about 4 illusions or difficulties we have to handle. One is that we have digital access to everything. We think that we have digital access to almost all publications and also to primary sources which come from libraries, archives, museums, galleries, digitized content, which for many sciences is used as their primary sources and analysis materials. In reality, 5 years ago, there was an estimate that only about 10% of the collections of libraries, archives, museums across Europe were digitized, which means that we really see a tip of an iceberg still. And that's important because if we do our research and we think that this knowledge is already there and shared, it's not. We have to really dig deeper. But I think that the digital world doesn't give this very clear idea of what is there and what is not visible in it. A second illusion is that if we provide access, this means that we will have great use of our resources. So literally 10 days ago, Frontiers published this shocking statistics. 90% of science is lost. It's not science, it's actually, they looked at data sets and how they are used. So they analyzed a huge set of data sets, and they discovered that for every 100 data sets created, around 80 remains in the lab, 20 are shared, but rarely are reused. Fewer than 2 meet the FAIR standards for findability, accessibility, interoperability, and reuse, and only 1 typically drives new findings. This doesn't really give a very sort of optimistic picture of what science is producing if only 1 data set helps to drive new findings. But I should say here that there is a big caveat with this. These data were used to advertise some new dataset publication service of Frontiers. So I think we need to take this with a pinch of salt, and it should be double checked if this is really the case. But they bring the alarm that this means delayed cancer treatments, a very good connection to the previous speaker, climate models short on evidence, and research which cannot be reproduced. Here with the reproducible research, actually we have another big caveat, because nobody at the moment knows how to preserve artificial intelligence and its experiments. So in a way the alarm is raised, but the issue of reproducibility of artificial intelligence itself is one of the unresolved challenges. Another illusion is that generally there is this idea that researchers are very motivated to share. And here I have a diagram I took from a paper which appeared 3 years ago. It's in open access. All diagrams, they have their references, so one can go and check the whole text. Here we have 3 types of barriers which were discovered as something which stops researchers to want to share or to share what they do. And the yellow group are concerns around reuse. Inappropriate use is big here. So we can share something, but if somebody uses it without really understanding the data, they could arrive to claims which are not really justified. Here we have also sharing rights, sensitive content, and transient storage issues. The green area are knowledge barriers. Unclear value, unclear process, complex workflow, data too large, insecurity. I'm sure that many of you will fully associate with this. So researchers are told share, but then if you want to share, you have to lose so much time to do it that you say, I better produce my next research discovery rather than becoming visible. The blue one are the group of disincentives, so not something which motivates you positively, but has a negative impact. And this is the lack of incentive as a disincentive, the lack of time, and something which is called scooping. You know your data, ideas are plentiful, open data means more citations, but if you share your data, there are also these cases of concern that somebody else who is very quick to write a paper can use your data, and then your data are getting out of being interesting because somebody else already used them. And the fourth area of concern is a list of issues around AI and use of open resources for training. I didn't get a clear view how the images and the data sets which our previous speaker presented were accumulated, but in this domain there are also openly available data sets which one could use and calibrate for different purposes. And here we have issues around rights, ethics, community concerns, attribution and provenance which vanish in the model. So if something comes from a particular source, when these data are thrown into a big model and amalgamated with other data, the provenance becomes hidden. For some institutions, this might mean that their data are used to produce something which leads to biases, or somebody throws a commercial model and starts earning money after using data which were produced by, let's say, a library or by a research institution which invested in it, but then is not getting any monetization back. There are also green aspects, because unsupervised scraping has also uses resources which can create too much load on bandwidth and all the effects this has on the climate, if we know how to calculate this. So, to conclude, knowledge production differs from knowledge ownership, and also is different from access to knowledge. As researchers, maybe multiple generations of researchers before us were thinking about how to produce new knowledge. They wouldn't call it in this way, but they wanted to discover something or to describe something for the first time. Now, the ownership historically was linked mostly to different priority debates, but now we have a very palpable feeling of ownership, because in the digital environment we create all these different digital artifacts, publications, datasets, software, and so on. Multiple stakeholders and roles, as we have seen, are involved, and some have more stake into making our research outcomes accessible, but in some cases this task is thrown on us as researchers. So if you look at these questions, who creates knowledge, who stores and curates it, who benefits from it, who decides what open means, actually this is all in rather big flux at the moment. If you look at the ownership, there are at least three important dimensions: the legal and intellectual property rights. But we have to think also about the memory and stewardship. What happens on the longer term? Where do we store, and how do we make sure that what is important to survive will survive in reality? And then we also have this aspect of digital belonging. I try to illustrate that there is more community involvement these days, and principles which are coined around the community involvement. So all these aspects of getting more players into the mix mean that we have to think more about what we are doing and how we are offering it to the world. Belonging in some cases means that we can have more recognition. It also helps access. In some cases it helps to share the governance over resources, and in some cases communities act as co-owners, not only researchers. I already mentioned the push for equitable participation in these scenarios where we work with citizens, and this involves all sorts of initiatives around citizen science, which is not so popular, but grows in popularity here as well. And what I think also happens these days is that researchers, maybe with some amount of surprise, find themselves that they now have also additional roles as being their own knowledge stewards, something which means that they need to have the understanding and also the tools to do it. So what we can do as researchers, maybe not today on Friday, but we can start thinking about this on Monday morning, I think it's very important to unpack our personal philosophies. What do we want to achieve as researchers ourselves? What do we work for? And this tension between commercialization and open research is particularly important for universities like Ruse University and other universities which do lots of applied research. And it's possible to combine this, but it requires strategic thinking. One can also decide we are strong in this particular case to commercialize something, we will go this route. But if we are not planning to commercialize, then we can maximize on openness. I think something lacking from the culture in Bulgaria is to plan better what are we doing, commercializing or opening when we start projects. Not when we start, but when we plan them, when we apply for them. And maybe the fair data principles are still not very popular in our research communities here. In some cases, there is a good scope to identify new relevant communities with which we can engage. And we also need to recognize invisible labor. Since digital objects are more complex and lots of people in different roles are involved, it's really good to be mindful who else is part of this process. So this is on the researchers level. And I don't know if the research performing organizations will start thinking about this on Monday, but they also have a number of challenges to resolve. In Bulgaria, most institutions lack institutional policies around openness. The infrastructures are of different quality and use around our universities and academic institutions, research institutes of the academies of sciences and so on. In many cases, probably the first push is to be compliant with the legal framework and the funders' requirement, and also I think the institutions can have a better look at how they can improve the way their institutional stories are being told, because openness, if it's done, can help to get more visibility. But do we tell any really coherent story about this? Is it clear when we go and explore the institutional web pages? That's something to think about. So that's all from me. Thank you. In the end of this set of papers.
Do you have any questions? Because this issue with the open access, open science was very much debated the last years. So if you have any questions, now it's the moment to ask them. I have one. Just are there any measurable proofs that what the European Union insists on, all of the scientific work to be publicly accessible, has shown any profit for the European Union and for the European economy?
Difficult question. So the question is whether there is a proof, let's say evidence, that investing in openness brings benefits to the economy. This gets into the area of impact, and impacts, because I'm actually responsible in my department for research impact, this is the most difficult thing to capture, because we want to capture something in a process. So we want to know where we are today, then say, okay, we are applying some measures, and now we are observing a change. It's a little bit like the treatment of people when they have a medical condition. So many factors are at play that I think it's very tricky to say openness was what really created the big difference. The push for openness didn't come from this thinking that it should create benefits. It came from the opposite end, because the argument which was made when the whole open movement started was The society is paying for research. You are keeping this research hidden in some journals, which the normal citizen has to pay for. Now make it open and available to everyone. So it started with publications, then it moved to data, then it moved to software. And I think so far, for me personally, the big winner from the openness is artificial intelligence, not the economy. So this is why I said my first recommendation for everyone was to rethink our research philosophy. What do we want to achieve? Whom do we want to reach? What do we want to offer? I personally am not very keen to train AI. You probably, I don't know if you remember, but when Terry Pratchett passed away, he gave orders, the hard disk of his computer to be smashed. So there you can find these pictures of heavy machinery, which is really going over a hard disk. I don't think that we are going in this direction, but I think we should be mindful. And that's what I hope everyone will take as a message from this talk.
Just a moment, please. Sorry, but we have changed the diploma because it has been closed and we don't see.
Okay. That's why things should be open.
Yes, it is open already. Thank you very much. Благодаря ви много. И се надявам да продължаваме за съвместната си работа. Сега се свързахме и се запознахме за първи път, но Русенския университет винаги е отворен за вас.
Благодаря ви.
Благодаря. И понеже се пренася малко по-трудно, затова си му даваме с...
Но вие не ми казахте, че времето ми свършва.
Беше интересно. Ladies and gentlemen, with this, the first session is closed. From 4 o'clock, I know, are opened the individual sessions. So you can join your individual sessions. Thank you for your attendance.